What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Flashback. Today we are looking at the X-Men issue number 106. This issue came out in August of 1977, and today we are basically looking at a flashback of Professor Xavier. He's going to basically retell this story that wasn't really involved in the current storyline that we're in right now. So it's kind of like a blast to the past. He's just reliving most of his thoughts and memories of what happened in the danger room. There's something that happened in the danger room, and it involved, as we see on the cover, Angel. And so we're kind of taking a pause here with the current storyline. We remember from last issue that the X-Men basically were transported by this Stargate, and they're going to basically try to save the universe from absolute destruction. We see here that Firelord is asking where the Phoenix is, as they had an epic battle last issue, Phoenix versus Firelord, and she's really one of the only X-Men that can go toe to toe with Firelord. And so we see here that Firelord here is asking where the heck is the Phoenix. See here that Professor Xavier explains to him that the X-Men have been transported, and they're basically going to, as I said, try to save the universe from collapsing on itself. And of course, they're also going to try to save Lil Landra from Eric the Red as well, as he was also involved in what happened last issue. If you haven't looked at last issue, I recommend going and relooking that video. I reviewed issue 105. But now let's go ahead and get on into this issue here, as we see here that Professor Xavier is still trying to get better with all the visions and different dreams he's had over the past few issues. He's just not been feeling the best here. And as I said, we're going to basically relive some of Professor Xavier's thoughts here and dreams. I mean, he's at the point now where he's looking at Misty Knight and he thinks this is Moria McTaggart. And one thing we know for sure is that Moria and McTaggart and Professor Xavier have a relationship that we're not too familiar yet as we look at this issue. In context to this issue, we just know that Moria and Professor Xavier definitely have a past that we don't know about yet. And so now, as I said, we're going to look at some of the memories of what happened in this danger room. There was a day that happened before what's happening now, as the X-Men are currently, transported across the universe. This happens before that event takes place. So this takes place right now that the X-Men are training in the danger room here. We see that this steel beam is about to fall right on top of Wolverine, and Colossus shoves Wolverine out of the way, and we see that Colossus takes the full brunt of the assault here with this steel beam. It lands right on Colossus, and Wolverine gets mad at Colossus here, as we see here, that he doesn't want anybody helping him out. You see here that Cyclops, the leader of the X-Men, has to break up the fight here. See that Wolverine has to sheathe his claws. He's about to, to attack Colossus. And you see here that Banshee's like, man, Cyclops, you're going to have to get this new team of X-Men under control because things are just getting out of hand. And we know for certain that Wolverine definitely has a temper problem. So you see that Cyclops tries to work with Wolverine, try to calm him down. All of a sudden, we see an appearance of Angel, and he is in his classic X-Men costume here. And we see that Cyclops, as well as the rest of the X-Men, are pretty surprised at the appearance of Angel here. So Angel is now going to try to fight Cyclops and the rest of the X-Men, saying, look, you're being pretty rude to me right now, and, I can come and go as I please. And so all of a sudden, we also see an appearance of Beast, and this is the human version of the Beast. We know at this point in 1977 that Beast was actually a part of the Avengers team at that point. At this point, and he was the classic Fury Beast with the blue fur, as we know him today. And so a lot of things are just not making a lot of sense here. We also see the classic Marvel girl here, as Storm's like, Jean Grey, where did you come from? And she's like, it's Marvel Girl. And so all these classic X-Men members are just appearing right in the Danger Room, and this new team of X-Men don't really understand what the heck is going on, and they're throwing barbs at each other and just throwing insults right up back at each other. And here we go, we start this big fight with Beast and Nightcrawler. They start going head to head. Then we see that Angel, he attacks Cyclops. Just all kinds of stuff going on. We have Banshee, he has to save Cyclops because at this height Cyclops could die. And we see that Storm is going to take on this Jean Grey. We just don't know what the heck is going on here. So yeah, a lot of things going on here that to the casual reader of X-Men, they wouldn't really understand what's going on until pretty much the end of the issue. You'll come to find out, did this really take place, uh, or what's really going on here? Because if you weren't a usual reader of X-Men at this time, you'd be pretty confused, to say the least. But we see more just of this action taking place, X-Men versus X-Men taking place. Even Banshee at this point uses his Sonic Blast to try to hurt Angel. Angel falls back to the ground, but we see here that Angel actually had earplugs in his ear, and here we go. I mean, Angel and these X-Men, as we see, are pretty unstoppable, and this is where we get the cover of this issue from, as Angel takes off the visor of Cyclops and attacks Colossus here, and Colossus takes the full brunt of this attack, and it's starting to hurt the steel skin of Colossus. We see here that Cyclops uses his elbow to distract Angel here, and he uses the rest of his basically his eye beams to attack Angel here. But as we see, as the fight continues and it goes on and on throughout this issue, it seems that these old original X-Men are unstoppable. No matter what attacks this new team of X-Men do against the originals, there's no stopping these original X-Men. And I mean, what in the heck is going on here? Why aren't the original X-Men, getting tired, or why are they not being defeated yet? There's a lot of things that you wouldn't understand at this point, but it's all going to come full circle here, as we see here that once again a lot of great action. When all of a sudden we see that Professor Xavier is like, I can break off this fight. And he's like, break off this battle, X-Men, for as I created both the old and new teams, created both sides of this insane conflict, so shall I destroy them. And so, as we see here, that these original X-Men are actually creations of Professor Xavier from his own mind. And so, as we reveal in the later part of this issue, that Professor Xavier, with his whole battle with his visions, as we've seen in the past few issues, he's had problems with his dreams. It's having a toll on his mutant power as well, and it's caused these evil creations that come from the mind of Professor Xavier. And we learn here that when Professor Xavier is not able to control his mutant powers, he is left to deal with the mastermind, this evil version of Professor Xavier starting to take control of Professor Xavier. And so we see here that the X-Men are left to battle an evil version of Professor Xavier. And this Professor Xavier is pretty unstoppable, as we see here that Wolverine tries to dive and try to attack this evil Professor Xavier, and he about falls to his death. They don't really know exactly if this is real or not, but once again, as we see here, that Wolverine, he has his mutant sense to know who is real and who's not. And we know, if you've read this issue, that Wolverine, with his heightened sense of smell, he knew all along that these images of the original X-Men weren't really the original McCoys here. And so we finally see that, um, as we see that Professor Xavier is able to cause these original images of the original X-Men to attack the evil Professor Xavier, and then all of a sudden, all the danger is gone here. And so, what a weird issue! As I said here, this is basically a flashback of Professor Xavier's memory of what happened in the Danger Room, and now he's just hoping that this new team of X-Men are going to be able to save the little Andra from Eric the Red and basically save the universe from collapsing on itself. So we'll get back into the main story next issue as we look at issue number 107 next time. And until next time, keep reading comics.